Hello and welcome to the Watch Design Academy website. My name is Dominic and I really don't want to waste your time, so that's why I created this quick PowerPoint presentation for you so we can go through the academy and so you can see what it's actually about. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So what I want to cover in this video is who I am, what do I actually do, what is Watch Design Academy about, what problems does it actually solve, how it works, what is inside the Academy program, who is the Academy for, and how you can actually get started. So, to introduce myself to you guys, my name is Dominic Kalagia. I am a professional watch designer and I've been working as a watch designer for over 6, almost 7 years now. And I am the founder of watchdesignstudio.com. I'm not sure if you've seen the website, some of you may have, some of you may not. Watch Design Studio is my main business. That is what I do in my everyday life. So all day, every day, I design watches for people that want to start their own watch brand or for existing brands to help them expand their collection. We also offer some different services such as 3D modeling and rendering services and CGI 3D video animation services for those exact brands. I've worked with over 50 plus micro brands and created over countless designs, so I do know what I'm talking about, and that is why I actually started the Academy. So I also have a Fiverr profile, which you can see a bunch of 5-star review on people that have worked with me through Fiverr. To be honest, I don't use Fiverr anymore because it's become too expensive for me to use, because for every project that I do, Fiverr takes 20% cut. So it doesn't make much sense to use it anymore. So now that I've told you a little bit more about me, so you know who I actually am, I just want to show you some of the brands that I've worked with in the past. So we have a lot of them. We have RZE, Volucci, Kinte, Kue, Kyoto, Tresca, Nomadic, Romer, Sterling Watches, Pedrol, Bausel, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, Bauschel or Bausel. We have Draken Watches, Radcliffe Watches, Waltham, Namika, Nordic Marine, Oceaniva, etc. I could go over for days of all the brands that I've worked with, but we don't have that much time. So here are some of the logos of the brands that I've worked with. And before we go deeper into the presentation, I just want to show you some of the designs I did for some of my clients. Firstly, I will show you the design. I have one of the designs actually that I've created for HC Watches. You can go and check them out at hcwatches.com. So I've designed a chronograph for them. This is just a digital sketch that I've created at the beginning of the design process. Then we've created a 3D model and all the components of the 3D model and the 3D model assembly. So this is how it looked in the 3D model. This is how it looked like after it's been materials applied and the renders have been created, so you can actually see and visualize how the watch would look like in real life after it's been produced, and that is how it's actually looking like as a real watch after the production process. So as you can see, it's very, very similar, almost identical. So then we come to the next design. This is quite a popular one. This is the design I've created for Volucci, VolucciWatches.com. You can also go and check them out. This is their expedition model, so you can see exactly, this is the first stage of the design process, digital draft. Then we've created a 3D model. Then I've created the photorealistic rendering, so you can visualize how the watch would look like. And here is the finished watch. So there is a lot of things that go into the actual design process, but we will go over that a little bit later into this presentation. Then we have Cabaret watches, cabaret.com. You can also go and check them out. So you can see how that model looked like. So you can see the digital draft, 3D model once again, renders, and the finished product. We have Centura watches. You can also go check them out, centurawatches.com. And we have Mirova watches. I'm not sure how it's pronounced exactly, but this is the design that I've created for them as well. As you can see, it has a see-through caseback as well in a Miyota 9015 movement. So for any of you guys, I believe you are either here because you want to become a watch designer or you want to start a watch brand, which will probably be a majority of people that actually visit Watch Design Academy website. So whenever you are actually starting a watch brand from scratch, you need to start off first with your design, right? Because you have to have something to sell. So whenever you're starting your brand, you have 3 design options. You have 3 like design paths that you can take. So first option that you have is use existing design from a supplier, which is usually found on Alibaba. So those are like white label designs where you just, oftentimes brands just stick their logo on it and try to sell that existing design. Then we have the option number 2, where you can hire a freelance designer. Usually it's from either Fiverr, Upwork, or LinkedIn, or some other freelancing website. And then the third and the best possible option, in my opinion, you can design a watch yourself, but I will tell you a little bit more about that later and why that is actually the best way or the best path you can take when starting a watch brand and creating your design. With all of these options, there are some problems, and I just want to go over some of those problems for each of those options so you can know a little bit more about that specific way. So first option that we have, as we've mentioned here, the first option that we have is using existing designs from suppliers. So there are a lot of problems with this, and I will go over them right now. So generic catalog designs. So manufacturers often push you to use pre-existing templates because they already have the production process, technical drawings, molding, and everything already finished for the watches that they have in their catalog. So whenever you're contacting them and telling them that you want to produce your watch, they will often show you their catalog, what they have available, and stuff like that. But result of that is that your brand will look like a lot of other brands that you will be able to find either on Amazon, AliExpress, Alibaba, Temu, or anywhere else, because those white labeled watches are often used by basically 80 to 90% of the brands out there that are starting out. So that's kind of a bad downside of using existing watches from supplier. As I said, there is very much limited creative freedom, and those designs that are in the catalog are not often like very creative, and they're not very unique. And as I said, a lot of different brands use them. So, and the issue with that is that you cannot really request too many modifications to those existing designs. So if you want to produce one design that they already have, when, for example, you want to produce a custom case or custom dial or unique handset, they will often say that something like that is not possible, that it's not worth it for them, or they will charge a lot of extra money for it because they have to change the molding, the design, the actual design 3D files and stuff like that, and the actual production files. So yeah. Then we have a lot of communication barriers whenever you are actually going forward with those changes to their design. Many of these manufacturers are not native English speakers, most of them often, and their English speaking skills are very bad. So it's very hard to communicate what changes do you want if you don't have the right files to show them what changes do you want. So if you don't have any sketches, 3D models, or anything that you can show them to how exactly you want to change their existing design, a lot of mistakes will happen around specifications, aesthetics, file formats, how it will produce, and oftentimes the production sample will have a lot of mistakes because of the communication barriers with the suppliers. They have a lot of lack of design understanding, so you have to remember that those manufacturers that you can find on Alibaba are engineers and assemblers. They are not creative thinkers and designers. So they don't guide you to the proportions of the watches. So what would be the best option for your brand? So if you're creating a minimalist brand, they won't tell you that you should use like 38mm cases for like unisex watches and stuff like that. If you're using divers, they won't tell you the bezels should be slightly bigger than the case so it's easier to grab. They won't tell you these things as if you were working with a designer like me, for example. So they don't guide you through any proportions, design language, or style of the watch that will be matching your brand. They will at the end give you poor presentation assets, or they won't give them at all. So no professional 3D renders or lifestyle mockups you will receive for their existing design, because They don't create CGI renders and stuff like that. And oftentimes in the industry, those CGI renders that you would get from either a designer, for example, like me, you can use on your website whenever you're selling your watches, or as product images, or on Kickstarter or stuff like that. So if you're already using an existing white label design of the manufacturer, you will just have a 2D sketch of the design, nothing more. And the issue with that, one of the biggest one, is that you have no ownership or transparency of ownership of your design, because you don't own that design. You just own the logo on that design that you're using of the manufacturer. So they can sell that design to your brand, to any other brand, and that is why a lot of the watches in the industry look very similar one to another. So you often won't also receive editable design files. What I mean by that, so for example, you want to produce that design that they have, you won't receive any technical drawings for that specific design, even if it is design that you're using. So if you want to give those technical drawings to a 3D modeler or someone else to produce CGI renders for you, you won't be able to give them those files, because the manufacturer won't give you the actual technical drawings and design files of the design that you're using to produce your watch. So it doesn't make much sense. Then we come to the second option, and that is hiring a freelance designer. That is, in my opinion, a little bit better option than the option number one, which is using existing files from the manufacturer. So here are some problems with those designers that you can often find on Fiverr, Upwork, or LinkedIn, or Behance, or any of these websites. So a lot of the designers have no watch industry experience. They have no idea about proportions, the movements, and stuff like that. So usually, oftentimes, those designers are like product designers, and they can design a lot of different things, but they don't specialize in one area. For example, that I do. I only design watches, and that's all I do. I don't design any other stuff like jewelry or any other products. So that is the issue with that. They don't have much experience, and they don't understand watch proportions, tolerances, or any other engineering constraints. So that's the issue. For example, if you want to design a diver watch that goes to 600-meter water resistance, you will have a very hard time getting the correct files from the designer. So oftentimes, endless revisions. So what I mean by that is that whenever you're trying to explain your vision to your designer, and the designer has to interpret your vision, it will never be 100% translated into the actual product or design, because there is always some compromises you have to make with the designer. There will never be 100% perfection of your design when you're not creating it. So that also comes with a lot of miscommunication with designers. If they don't know anything about the watch industry or have no knowledge of it, and you will have hard time explaining them exactly what you want. So it could be very hard. And a lot of these designers are not very people friendly. They're not used to hopping on calls and stuff like that. So usually you just have to communicate it through text all the time and no video calls. So it's very hard to explain your vision, basically. That's what I mean. And oftentimes, because of that, the files that you will be getting at the end won't be like the correct files for production, and then the manufacturer will have issues, and then it's just a complete mess. So those are some expensive mistakes, because sometimes you will be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars or euros for a design that you cannot use and that you cannot produce. It may look great on papers or renders or something like that, but it will not be, but maybe the design won't be functional at all, and the manufacturer won't be able to produce it. So even after working with a designer, you won't really know how things were made, because you don't, again, you may understand the watch side of things, but you don't quite understand the watch design process and the process that specific designer has used. So you don't know how the files were made, and whenever you're trying to, for example, change some stuff, it's very hard to get a hold of that same freelance designer that has designed your first watch, so you then have to go ahead and look for another one. So you're very dependent on others when making future designs or revisions or iterations. And also, same as with the manufacturers, sometimes there are some ownership issues, because oftentimes people don't bother signing NDAs with any of these designers, and that can like come back and bite you in the ass. So yeah, not all designers will give you all the files. They will keep some files for themselves, and you may not legally own your own design files unless you ask them to sign an NDA and go over it with a proper lawyer. So yeah, those are the problems with the first two ways that you can go about it. So with the manufacturers and designers. And you may ask, okay, Dominic, how can I avoid these problems, right? Because they are avoidable. And you probably know what I am about to say. So how you can actually avoid these problems is with the third option, which is you can design a watch yourself. So before I tell you a little bit more about that and how you can actually achieve that, I just want to go over some of the benefits of creating your own watch design. So whenever you're creating your own watch design, you have full creative control over your design, right? So you design exactly what you have envisioned. You don't have to compromise with anyone, like designer or manufacturer. You don't have to rely on others or designers, freelance designers, or anyone else to interpret your ideas and basically get them wrong, because you're the one actually creating it and you know what you want. You know your vision the best. So every detail, case shape, dial, hands, crown, everything is basically your decision, if that makes sense. Also, one of the big benefit, you will save thousands of dollars or euros in designer fees. When anyone is working with me, like starting price for a watch design service is 2,695 euros. So that's like $3,000 just starting fee. So if you know how to design a watch yourself, that is immediately what you will be saving. So you won't have to pay a lot of money for others to design your watch. No need for back and forth revisions with freelancers. And once you have that design skill, you can use it over and over. Then, regarding the manufacturer-ready files, you'll be able to hand over clean, accurate files that the manufacturers will love, because you will be able to provide them the exact files that you've created. You know what are those files, you know what each file is for. You will be able to provide them anything they need because you are the one creating those files. So CAD files, AI or Photoshop files. What I mean by AI is not artificial intelligence, rather I mean Adobe Illustrator. 3D renderings, technical drawings, specifications sheet, color combinations, variations, hex codes, pentones, and stuff like that. So there will be a lot of fewer production mistakes, faster samples, and a lot smoother communication with your manufacturers because you're the one creating design. So also one big thing is unlimited revisions or iterations, because if you want to launch more models next year, you can, because you have the design skill. If you want to tweak the dial color, case shape, you won't need to pay someone else again to do it for you, because you can just do it yourself, right? And you also have the true design ownership, because you own every file and concept that you have created. No licensing issues, NDAs, or creative limitations, right? So the main point that I want to explain is that design is the foundation of your brand, because most of the brands want to create a story, and you cannot create a good story around the brand if your design is shit, right? And what I found so far over my 6 years of watch design experience and working with brands, the most successful brands are the ones where the founder is the one designing their own watches, because he can then put his exact vision into his designs and he can sell his exact vision to his customers, right? Because this is a passion business, there are better businesses to start than a watch brand, of course, but there is always some degree of passion going into the actual watch design and the actual watch business, because this is a passion business after all. After all that, you might say, Dominic, but I don't know how to design a watch. And that's completely normal. And that is exactly why you're here, and that is exactly why I created Watch Design Academy. So this Watch Design Academy is a step-by-step program that teaches you how to design your own watch professionally, manufacturer ready, and even if you don't know how to draw, or even if you've never opened a CAD software before, you will know how to design a watch. Because with this academy, I've poured my 6 years of knowledge and watch design into the program. So everything that I know is in the Watch Design Academy. Basically, it's just a copy of my brain. So before I go deeper into the Academy, what's actually about, how it works and what you get inside, I just want to quickly go over the watch design process and softwares that I use for the design process whenever I design watches for my clients, or the exact design process and softwares that the Academy members use. So yeah, whenever you're designing a watch, there are a few different steps. The first step is 2D digital drafting or sketching. That is where we create a 2D sketch which looks like this. You can see Valucci watch, and for that we use Photoshop, that's the software. Then we come on to the second stage, which is 3D modeling and CAD design, and for that we use SolidWorks, and that is how it looks. That is a 3D model of that same Valucci watch. Then we have a CGI rendering and visualizations, which is done in Keyshot 2023. That is a rendering software, and that is where you apply all the materials to the watch, colors and everything else, so you can visualize how it would look like. And then after all that is completed, you go ahead once again back into SolidWorks to create technical drawings and all the necessary production files for the manufacturer. That is how it usually looks. And when you have all of these files, you have the files necessary to for the manufacturer to be able to produce the watch. And that is just quickly explained watch design process, even if there is a lot more things that go into it actually. So yeah, now we can go into explaining what Watch Design Academy is actually about and how the Academy actually works. So whenever you'll be creating your own account in this on the website and joining into the Academy, this is the interface that you will be able to see. So inside you will get a course, softwares, resource pack, Facebook group, and manufacturer contact. So let's go over it one by one. So the golden goose of the Watch Design Academy is 28 plus hour watch design course. So I just want to explain quickly how it looks and what it actually is. So the course is completely pre-recorded. Currently it has 80 different modules, and through these different modules it has 66 lessons, and that's all in total a little bit over 28 hours of content inside and lessons about watch design process. So you won't just get like watch design tutorials. Firstly, you will get tutorials on how to actually use the professional design softwares, the softwares that we've mentioned, the Photoshop, SolidWorks, and Keyshot. Because if you want to design a watch properly, you need to know how to properly use those softwares. So you will get that. We will have special modules for training and exercise on recreating existing watch according to existing technical drawings from manufacturers. So you know how the actual design process is like reverse engineered. So that's one of the big modules, which is in the module number 5. You can see right here, module number 5, recreation lessons and training advanced. Then we'll have 6, 7, and 8 module, which will be explaining the complete watch design process for a standard automatic watch, diver watch, and an AP style watch. And currently I'm filming the 9th module for the Academy, which will be teaching you guys how to design a Cartier tank style watch. So yeah, inside of those modules and lessons, you will also learn how to design a metal bracelets, 2 different styles of metal bracelets, rubber straps, and you will also have lessons on CGI rendering and visualization, which is a part of the design process. And CGI rendering is very important because it helps manufacturer actually see how the watch is supposed to look like in real life. So even if you have some mistakes on technical drawings, they will be able to connect those mistakes with how it's supposed to look like on the renders and fix the files, if that makes sense. So now that we've gone over that, the golden goose, the most important thing in the Academy, the course, let's go over the softwares. So you will get free access to the softwares used inside the course and the softwares that you will need to design a watch. So Photoshop 2019, SolidWorks 2021, and Keyshot 2023. Those are the exact same softwares that I use personally when I design watches for my clients. You will also get installation guides for those softwares. So whenever you'll be joining inside the Academy, logging in, you will have the softwares button right here, and it will guide you to a softwares page where you can download each one separately, and you have installation guides for them as well. Then you have the resource pack and training files. Resource pack is basically a zip file with all the files that have been created through the course, 2D, 3D files and everything else, a lot of different things, which you can see right here. And training files, those are 7 different exercises that I've put together for you guys. Each one is slightly bit different. Each one is containing design files and technical drawings of existing watches, so you can recreate them on your own time after you've actually gone through the course. So you can actually train yourself a little bit more on how to actually design a proper watch. So that is a very big thing inside the academy as well. Then we have the Facebook members group. It's nothing too special. It's basically created for members to ask questions when they need help regarding the course or on their own specific project. So they can share feedback on the lessons, or if anything has maybe not been explained properly, so they can get feedback on that. Or they can just share their designs with other members. Here you can see one of the sketches our client made, the 3D model and stuff like that. And you will also get a context to the manufacturers. So I basically work with Swiss manufacturer, one Swiss manufacturer and one Chinese manufacturer. And I always recommend them to all the clients that I design watches for, because it's very hard today to find a good manufacturer, and that is why I've included that inside. Now that you know what is the academy, what you actually get, and how it actually works, how can you get started? So we have 3 flexible learning programs, and the only reason why we have 3 programs is because someone doesn't need as much help and some people need more help. So we have 3 different programs at 3 different pricing. So we have the basic program, professional program, and the expert program. And now you might be wondering, okay, those are the 3 programs, but what is the pricing of those programs? So we have the basic, professional, and expert. The basic is 395 euros. The professional program is 895 euros, and the expert program is 2,995 euros. So yeah, those are the programs, and usually whenever someone hops on a call with me, I always explain them what actually is each one of these programs, which I'll do shortly for you guys now, and I always give them a slight discount if they really want to join. So yeah. So you might be wondering what are the actual differences between those softwares. So let me explain to you guys quickly with this table sheet, as you can see right here. So we have everything that can be included in those softwares, and we have 3 different softwares right here. So as you can see, we have the basic, and here is included 18-hour watch design course and not a full 28-hour watch design course. So what you get here is a course which doesn't include the 7th and 8th module with designing a diver watch and an AP style watch. So you will learn how to design a watch from scratch, that is true, but only a normal standard automatic watch, which is more than enough for some people, but some people want to know how to also design a diver watch and an AP style watch. So yeah. And with the basic program, you will also get access to professional design tools and softwares, of course, and you will also have the lessons on how to use those tools inside the course as well. So that is what you get in the basic program, and that is why the price is very, very low for this program. Then you have the professional program, which is 895 euros. You will get a 18-hour course, of course, but you will get a full 28-hour course as well. You will get access to professional design tools and software, how to use lessons for 2D and 3D tools as well. You will have access to new content and lessons and updates. So every time I create something new, I post it inside the academy. You will be able to see it if you have joined in the professional program, because in the basic program you only get the 18-hour course, so you won't get any updated lessons. You will also get the resource pack, and you will have the members only Facebook community access as well. So now the only difference between the professional, basic, and the actual expert program is the expert program will give you everything the professional program will give you as well, but the big thing that you will get here is one-to-one coaching calls. So you will get 8 calls with me directly, 8 calls times 60 minutes. So you will get a lot of time one-on-one with me directly, where I can help you with anything regarding the Watch Design Academy course, lessons, software, or if you need help on any of your personal projects, watches that you want to produce, or anything for your brand, consulting, anything. That is the expert program, and that is a big thing that I offer only in the expert program and only for VIP members, because it takes a lot of my time, and I only take on like 10 students per month regarding that. So And I don't recommend expert program for anyone. Only if you're starting your own watch brand, then I would only recommend the expert program to you guys. For anyone else, I think basic and professional is more than enough. And the big difference is that with expert program, you get access to manufacturer contacts. As I said, this is only for people that want to get started their own watch brand. So you also have access to contacts for the manufacturers, so you don't have to go ahead on Alibaba and waste your time looking for them. One big thing as well is that with the expert program, you will get lifetime access, and with the professional and basic, you only get a 1-year access to the academy. Now that you know what are the differences in those softwares, I think we can go on to the next slide, which is how you can actually join. So below this video that you are watching right now, you will have 2 options. You will have 2 different buttons. So you will have I'm ready to join, the academy button, which you can then go ahead, click, choose the program that you're interested in, create your account on the website, go to the checkout page, make the payment, and then you will receive everything that is inside the academy, and you will have your own account, which you can just log in anytime where you work, when you want to work and learn inside the academy. So that is the first option. If you're 100% sure that this is something for you and that you really want to join. For people that are not entirely sure and want some more information from me directly, you can press the other button, which is I'd like to book a call first button. And here you can just fill out a 2-minute application form, which just asks a few questions about you, what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve. So I know what we can discuss on the call. So I can help you as much as possible. And that is where you will hop on a one-to-one call with me directly, so I can explain and answer all your questions that you have on the academy. And then you can actually decide if it is something for you or not. So that is basically all that I wanted to say. So if you want to go quit this video and exit the video, you can. I just want to go over still some of the most common questions that I get on the video calls, what potential members always ask me before they join the academy. So, do I need to have previous experience in watchmaking? No, you don't need to, because the academy is, the modules inside the course are designed in a way that teach you everything from scratch. Even if you've never touched a pencil or draw anything on paper, I will teach you everything inside, and everything is structured properly so you can become from a beginner to a professional designer. Do I need to know how to draw? No, we've already covered that. Do I need to use the exact softwares that you are using? No, you don't. You can also use, for example, a lot of people use Fusion 360 instead of SolidWorks, for example, or Adobe Illustrator instead of Photoshop, but that's completely up to you, because some people already know how to work in these softwares, so they can use those softwares instead. Can I use Photoshop, SolidWorks, and KeyShot on Mac devices? You can use SolidWorks, you can use Photoshop and KeyShot on Mac devices without any issues, but the SolidWorks you can only use as a browser version. So you cannot run it as a normal software directly from the computer. You have to pay $40 per month membership for SolidWorks for a browser version. But you can use it on Mac that way. How long does it take to complete the program? That is very much up to you and how much time you have per day or per week to actually dedicate to the academy and actually learn all the stuff that's inside. But usually, on average, members finish it within a month. So yeah. If I have any questions during the course, who can I reach out to? And as I said, that is exactly why I've created the Facebook group. But whenever you're joining, I will send you an email personally with my personal contacts, with my WhatsApp and email, so you can reach out anytime on WhatsApp or email as well to me directly. And that is it, guys. That is the end of the presentation. I just want to thank you for everybody that has watched it through the end. If you have any questions, you can go into the contact page above and just send me an email, or if you're interested in joining, you can just join or book a call directly with me. So that is it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next time. Take care. Ciao.